Hi and welcome. It's Jessica Drummond here from the Integrative Women's Health Institute. Today, I want to support you to work with more women using your brilliant health and wellness skill set. And I know that you probably have a number of skill sets, not just health coaching, but you may also be a physical therapist, a yoga instructor, a nutritionist, fitness professional, a physician assistant, a physician. You may have a broad and diverse skill set. And interestingly, from a marketing standpoint, this is what often trips up our students and graduates at IWHI, because we're struggling with making sure that everyone knows all of the different skill sets we have, that we don't help them to see exactly how we can be of service. So in this webinar, I'm going to be teaching you how to enroll clients specifically using scripts, language, by really meeting them where they are, whether your marketing strategy includes a lot of writing or a lot of video or one-on-one phone consultations. So there is a multi-step process to enrolling each client into your practice, your health or wellness practice. And the first step is really to clarify your ideal client. And most of our students and graduates do struggle with this. And the reason is because it's many of the tools and skill sets that you have can be applied to quite a number of chronic issues, whether it's pelvic pain, period issues, hormonal imbalances, overtraining injuries, fatigue, headaches, even dementia, stroke, long-term memory loss. There are so many things, osteoporosis, joint pain, that our tools can support. So we're going to talk about exactly how to get more clear on who your ideal client is and why that's important. Then we want to be speaking directly to your client's struggle and create confidence in your ability to help. Then you're going to be detailing your process and pricing, sharing social proof, and giving a confident call to action. Then I'm going to explain your marketing plan. We're going to get started with that so that people know you exist at all, so that you can get in front of them with those initial blog posts, videos, and one-on-one consultations. So to clarify your ideal client, the first steps are really thinking about just brainstorming, writing down, as I just mentioned, with your skill set, you have the ability to serve literally hundreds of millions of women around the world. Now, you don't have the bandwidth to serve them necessarily. You don't have the tools to connect with them necessarily, but you have the skill set to help them with their health or wellness struggles. So we have to step back and, in our Business 101 training, Susan Clinton and I, we teach that course, and we're very focused on making sure that you, as the health or wellness professional, designs a business or practice that really is in alignment with your physical needs, your financial needs, your goals, your purpose, who you want to work with, and how you would like to work with them. Because if you are going to sustain a long-term women's health or wellness career, you need to, pace yourself. And so it's not always just about who you can help. It's who you would like to help, who you enjoy helping, and who has the resources to afford your services at first. If financial stability is a necessary factor in your practice, or even if you offer nonprofit services, then you have to get clear on what topic you can get excited about talking about, helping others with, studying, teaching, showing up for every course, going to a number of conferences each year, watching online trainings, immersing yourself consistently in that topic for at least the next 3 to 5 years. It takes some time to get real traction if you are going to become an expert. from the marketing standpoint. So it's important to be realistic about that. It's very rare that in 5 weeks, all of a sudden you're a known global expert on headaches or something, and suddenly your practice is full, right? You need some time to gain traction in your marketing, and you need some time to get to the level of real expertise where you'll be invited to speak on various panels, to speak at conferences, where you'll become more well-known in your niche, and then you can, opportunities will come to you, but that takes a little time. So you want to choose something that you can get excited about, or at least tolerate talking about for quite some time. Then get a very clear image, almost a prototype of the client who you are speaking with directly every time you create a piece of marketing content, whether that's a video, of written content, a meme, a social media post. Who are you talking with, and in what way are you trying to serve them? And what words is she using to share about her struggle? We want to, in many cases in women's health and wellness, we were sort of our first client. So we have to think back to what we were feeling like. And that is difficult to do, to go back to when we were in that struggle. And maybe you have never been in that struggle before. One of the questions I got in our Facebook group before this webinar was, hey, I want to work with perinatal women, but I've never been pregnant. I completely get that. And when I was first practicing as a physical therapist in women's health specialty, for years, I worked with pregnant and postpartum women, taught exercise classes, did hands-on therapy with them, and I hadn't been pregnant myself ever. So it's not necessary for you to go through your client's experience to put yourself in their shoes to some degree regarding what they are struggling with. And the best way to do that is really listen. What is your ideal client struggling with? What is she saying in groups? What is she saying to you? What are people like her saying, posting online, talking about what is in their videos? Start by listening. And again, set the foundation of your practice such that you're developing the kind of practice where you are not burning yourself out. You're super excited about your topic. You can talk about it for at least 5 years, and you're creating the kind of practice that's sustainable for you. If you're not the kind of person who can work with 30 patients a week, think about, let's not set that up from the beginning, and we can help you with that in Business 101. There are so many leveraged models now that you don't have to burn yourself out by just seeing tons and tons of patients every week. So, for example, 3 of our graduates, Carolyn Zwickson, focuses on postpartum moms. Now, this is important. Just because you narrow your niche, so in her case, she works just with postpartum moms. However, that's where her marketing is speaking to, but there's going to be some organic growth from there. So some of those women are going to want to get pregnant again, maybe struggling with secondary infertility. She has expertise in infertility wellness as well, so she can continue to work with clients in her practice through that entire perinatal childbearing years time, preconception, pregnancy, postpartum. But her marketing is very clearly speaking with postpartum moms. Now, she can also choose not to work with preconception, pregnancy, refer them to colleagues. There are many of us who can collaboratively serve, but don't worry that just because you focus your marketing on one topic that you're limiting your practice. That's not necessarily true. Similarly, Julie Granger, she works with teen and tween female athletes, a very narrow niche, which is awesome. And often their moms or their parents need similar help, the whole family. When you're working with children of any age, you're also almost by default going to be working with the whole family. So you may want to bring someone on if you don't like working with adults at all. But, kids don't heal in isolation, they heal in community. So does everyone, really. So often your practice will expand to people coming to you that are tangential to the original marketing message. It's perfectly fine. You don't have to send them away if you have the skill set and desire to serve them. You also can refer them out if you have the skill set but not the desire to serve them. That's the key to minimizing your own burnout risk. Similarly, Lorraine Faindrich, she focuses on working with women with pelvic pain, but only the emotional, spiritual component. If women need hands-on pelvic manual therapy, she refers them to colleagues in physical therapy. If they need nutrition, she refers them to health coaches and nutritionists and dietitians who work specifically with pelvic pain. So you don't have to do everything, and your ideal market will expand even if you keep to a quite narrow marketing message, and that is fine. And you get to choose what you then do with that based on your financial, physical, emotional, and time-based bandwidth. All right, now, copywriting skills when it comes to successful marketing is probably one of the first skills that I would suggest you develop. And we talk a lot about copywriting in Business 101. I'll specifically assess your website. I'll edit your blog posts if you like. It's a small program. We limit Business 101 to 15 students at a time so that I have time to really look at your work. The goal here in copywriting is different from just educating, and it's different from writing research papers. And I know that because I've done all of those things. Speak directly to your client's ideal struggle, where they are right now. So I've learned copywriting for the last decade from many brilliant copywriters. One of the simplest tools that I almost always use in my practice, I learned from watching some content by Derek Halpern. It's called the before-after bridge. Super simple. Meet your client where she is. Every time you're talking to a potential client on the phone, blog post, video, start with, what are you struggling with? And if you're talking directly to them, you can just ask them that question, then pull in your coaching skills, mindful listening. If you're doing a blog or video, talk directly to the pain that they're experiencing in the moment. Are you struggling with that falling out feeling in your pelvis or vagina since you had your baby? You might not want to say, are you struggling with prolapse? Perhaps they don't know what prolapse is necessarily. Or if you're working with clients with hormonal imbalance, fibromyalgia, adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue, you might say something like, when you wake up with such fatigue that you're fearful that you'll have to call in sick to work again. Having been there, I know what that fear feels like. So really listening to the struggles that your clients are dealing with and talk directly to those so that they know you really understand where they are right now, that they're not afraid that all of a sudden you're going to bring them into your fitness center and, work them like crazy if they are crazy exhausted right this minute. They have to understand that you know how they're feeling now, not how the goal is to be feeling. Then, so the after is describe in detail what's possible in terms of her healing. For example, with my support, you can reduce your prolapse by 1 full grade with pelvic floor rehab alone. Combined with functional nutrition and long-term prolapse safe fitness, you could avoid surgery, relieve pain and discomfort. All of that is very possible for you for the long term. So you're explaining what she could really feel like. Now, one interesting thing about health and wellness is, the worst case scenario is death, right? But there's no kind of optimal finish line of healthy. It's not like, hey, I hit the goal, I'm healthy now, right? So it's a continuum. However, when someone is struggling with an intense chronic or acute health situation that's taking up a lot of their energy, you want to meet them in that discomfort now. You want them to understand that you understand that discomfort. But then you want to show them, look, it's reasonable for you to feel well to the point of not having to constantly direct your energy to this problem for the long term, right? And I've seen how it's done. I know how to get from A to B. I've experienced it. My clients have experienced. So that's the bridge. So you might say something like, using our 6-step process or using my systematic approach, you'll learn to strengthen your pelvic floor and core muscles, specifically to support your prolapse. You'll learn nutrition, you'll learn sleep, you'll learn hormonal balance to support the hormone health of your pelvic floor muscles so that they can get stronger. There are these certain steps that your process is going to go through that you'll be able to track. Are they on the right track? Are they improving? And you might then describe some of the program in a bit more detail. For example, part of the program involves strengthening exercises. Let me show you specifically how these are done. So you could do a video of that, for example. So they want to know that there's a clear process. A cookie cutter protocol, everyone knows, doesn't work in health and wellness. So I think it's important to be very honest that there's a process, that there are kind of benchmarks that people are going to go through. But it's not like, 5 reps of 10 and then take this supplement and then be on this specific food plan and you're good. Like, that's just not true. So we need to walk them through the process, helping them to understand that there's variability from person to person. Then this is really important. So even if you're brand new, you've never worked with a client, you have to realistically show your clients, your potential clients, that they can confidently work with you. And so, for example, the way that I work with clients to reduce their prolapse by 1 grade and reduce or eliminate their symptoms relating to prolapse is blah, blah, blah. What they exactly want to know at the end of that sentence in the blah, blah, blah is, what will it look like to work with you? What will they be doing? What will you be doing? Where will you meet? Like, what does the office look like? Show them, right? A friend of mine recently went to a new doctor's office, and it was kind of in a crotchety old building, and she walked in and like 3 people were sitting in the waiting room with IVs, and she almost just turned around and left. Like, what is this place? Is this a witch doctor, right? You want them to understand, like, what's the environment? Will you be on the phone? Will it be on a Zoom meeting? Will it be in person? Is her office nice? Is it easy to get to? Can I park there? All of these little barriers are what limit people from taking action. And they really want to know, like, what's the process? How long is it likely to take? When will you know if we're on the right track? How will you know? And what is the cost? Another friend of mine was talking to me and telling me earlier that she has to go to the specialist doctor approximately once a year, but she hasn't really been in the last 3 years because every time she shows up, she has to pay out of pocket. It's a cash-based practice, which is perfectly fine, but she never knows if she's going to be billed $500 or like $5,000. And having a ballpark range of what this is going to cost is super helpful for people. They just want to know what they're getting into. At this point, when you're creating confidence, clients do want to know more about your credentials and your experience. In the beginning, when you're meeting them where they are in terms of their pain, they don't care at all. How many letters do you have after your name? What your degrees are? They care a little bit about your experience, maybe, but they don't care at all about the letters behind your name. Here they care about it a little, and they care about your experience, but they care much more about exactly how you will help them. Now, then we want to detail that process and your pricing. So I'm going to literally give you the script right now that I usually use at the end of those 15-minute complimentary calls. First, I'm listening. I'm really making a decision about whether or not I can help. And then once I've concluded that it's likely that I can help, I'll say to clients almost exactly this, word for word. I mean, of course, it varies a little bit each time, but I wanted to give you a script that you could work off of. The way that I work with clients is to schedule a 3-session initial assessment. We'll meet for an hour, and together we'll develop a clear plan of action for you that will involve making changes in your nutrition and movement practice. Later, we may need to adjust your sleep, consider some referrals for lab testing, and talk about adjusting your work schedule. But since you shared that it feels easier now to start with movement and nutrition, let's start there. Now, a little side note, you should have these conversations be as client-led as possible. So if your client really feels like sleep is an easier place to start than nutrition, you can change that up. If your 6-step process, certain steps feel easier for your client to overcome, start with those. We want to help them get some success up front. After that initial planning session, so here's what I'll go on to say. After that initial planning session, we'll meet for 2 additional 30-minute sessions to see how the program's working for you and make any changes needed for the plan to work more effectively. Usually, once we put a plan in action, we can more easily see the challenges, like what do you eat when you're going to visit your family, or how to fit into your morning movement on those days when you work that early morning shift. Taking action is what helps us to see what needs to be tweaked. And, literally I've developed this process over the last 2 decades because I found that, it's almost never enough to do a one session assessment. You always do have to fine tune because people are unique. And so this builds it right in from up front, and it gets buy-in right from the beginning. The cost, so now I jump in and confidently and clearly explain the cost so that people know what they're getting into. The cost of the initial 3 sessions is $795. Your case seems straightforward from what you've shared with me so far, as an example, assuming this is an easier case. So it's possible that 3 sessions will be enough to get you started. And because you've shared that you tend to be very self-motivated about your health, you can probably take it from there. However, if you need more support, we can always book a follow-up session at $200 per individual session. And we can do that, once every 6 months if that feels good to you. Or if what I've heard in that initial consult is that this case could be significantly more complicated, I would say something like the cost of the initial sessions is $795. Your case is a bit complex, and you shared with me that you tend to be more successful with an accountability and longer term support plan. So after the initial 3-session visit, we can come up with a 6-week plan to support you to keep taking action with my consistent support, guidance, education, and accountability. If we decide that's a good next step after those initial assessment 3 sessions, the cost of those follow-up sessions is roughly $90 per session, assuming you commit to doing 6 weeks of sessions at a time to do that work. So I do offer some discounts when we package the follow-ups together. So that's very clear. People know what they're getting into. They can afford it or they can't afford it. They have some idea. It's not like, hey, I'm going to show up in this office and it could be $100, it could be $5,000. I have no idea. That's kind of scary. We want to eliminate that barrier. Then all throughout your marketing, you always want to have social proof. Testimonials as much as you can realistically have, depending on your scope of practice, video, written, memes, Yelp, on your website, at the end of your blogs and videos, case studies. Be sure you get permission from people to share these. And it's important to share what the client's before-after experience was with, the audience, right? So if someone's explaining their experience with you, you really want them to go back to how they felt before and what they were afraid of and how they had to overcome. Because again, that's where your client is sitting, trying to make this decision about working with you or not being a good idea. Now, I want to address, what if you're brand new, you've never worked with a client at all, or you've never worked with a client at this level of complexity or with this particular issue. Even 20 years in, I still deal with that all the time, because the clients present with unique and complex issues. I think the most important thing to do is to be completely honest and clear about your experience and your resources. So let's say someone comes to me and I've hardly ever addressed an issue like this, then I'll say, I've worked with things that are similar for clients, but I've never specifically worked with, these 2 things together. My expectation is that doing X, Y, and Z will be the right path for you. We should know in about 3 months. So give them some kind of guideline about how you're tracking if you're on the right track. Let's say that you're completely brand new and maybe you're in our women's health coaching certification or a similar program. You can say, hey, I am recently completing some new education in the arena of hormone balance or period health or whatever. And I am a part of community of professionals who are my colleagues who are available if we get to a point where things are challenging and I have questions. I've got a whole group of experienced colleagues that I can get support from around the world. So I'm not concerned that we're going to run into anything that we can't handle. But if that happens, I have networks and resources that I can get help with and or I can refer you to as needed. So I think it's important to share your real experience and the resources that you have for support. If you're in a if you're in a practice that has more than one person, you're not just a solopreneur, you can also talk about the colleagues that you're working with that you can get support and referrals from and with. So be honest and clear. People just want to know what they're getting into. This is where that confident call to action comes. So a lot of times what women's health and wellness professionals tend to do is a lot of teaching about how a client could get some help. But the data shows that even if any human knows literally exactly what they need to do, even if it's fairly simple, like take this medication or go for a 20-minute walk once a day to feel better, only 11% of them will actually do that. So it's not enough for them to know what to do. They need to be working with you for that accountability, for that coaching, for that navigating around barriers to change, right? To actually get the results that they're looking for. So you have to get really confident here, because if your clients just know what they need to do and they never do it, they're not going to get better. And if they don't work with you, they're going to either not get better or they're going to go work with someone who may not have the same level of skill to get them better that you do. Or they may go down a path that is less evidence-based, like they may choose surgery for pain or opioids for pain. And we know that is not the most effective path, right? So you've got to get confident here. And again, honest with the level that your experience is and your training is. It's not been a problem. I mean, as I said, I still deal with this all the time where people present things that I haven't seen thousands of cases of this, but I have worked with enough, I have enough experience, I've worked with enough individual human women and people that, I know that I have the skill set to help them get some improvement. So once you're confident in that, it's essentially your responsibility to share that with them. So if the potential client liked what they heard in your blog post, your video, or free initial call, you have to tell them what exactly to do next. Call your office at this phone number and speak with this person. Schedule a 15-minute complimentary call using this specific scheduling link. Click here, right? Direct them to exactly what to do. Now, ideally, and I did this for about the first 3 years of my practice, if you're a solopreneur or you're just getting started, I strongly suggest that you get comfortable asking for this sale, this enrollment at the end of every free consult call yourself, because it'll help you to overcome any barriers you might have about asking for payment for your services, for any confidence issues that you're struggling with. Just practice, practice, practice. So at the end of that call, you tell them exactly what you're going to do. And then you say, okay, would you like to work together? If so, we're going to go ahead and schedule your initial 3 sessions right now, or your initial 1 session, whatever your package or program or service looks like. And I'm going to send you a payment link, or I can take your credit card information right now over the phone for the initial session or package. Get comfortable by asking directly for that sale, by just doing it, by just practice, practice, practice. And if they say, well, I need to speak with my partner, I need to think about this for a moment. Okay, great. Take all the time you need. I'm going to follow up with you in a day or two to make sure that you've gotten all your questions answered and have a follow-up process in place. Then, okay, so this is assuming you have some potential clients to talk with, right? Potential clients first need to know you exist. And the fastest path to that initially is by search optimization. So if you are going to just get super excited about this one topic that you can just immerse yourself in for the next few years, you're getting like a master's degree in this one narrow topic, you need 15 topics, and we can help you brainstorm and even edit and write these or record them inside of Business 101. But if you want to do it yourself, you've got to get 15 smaller topics, and I'll show you how to do a keyword search in a minute that will help you guide some of these titles, and to write really strong evidence-based blog posts or record videos. People want good, meaty stuff. They don't, it's okay to be like a little snazzy and, get their attention. But at the end of the day, you're talking to people who are struggling with a physical or emotional ailment. They want to know you actually know what you're talking about. So write a good detailed post or record a very detailed video, evidence-based, 300 to over 1,000 words. A few pictures in there is better for SEO, but make sure you purchase the pictures from reputable sources or use them from reputable free image sites. You can actually get sued, and it's a pretty expensive fine if you just swipe someone's images that are owned by a stock photo company. Do at least a 10-minute video if you're going to be explaining a specific topic. Now you can chop that into a little 1 or 2 minute to kind of, get some excitement on social media and then direct them to the full video. Now let's talk about how to choose the little keywords that you're going to write about using Google Keyword Planner. And the other thing I want you to remember, do it. If your blog post is 800 words and you have just one picture in it or no pictures, but you feel good about it and you're running out of time, done is better than perfect. Get these done. Get these out there. Start developing your voice. Practice writing and speaking. The more that you do it, the better you'll get. All right, so if you're going to be choosing which keywords you want to use in your videos and blog posts, I suggest using the Google Keywords Planner, and you can go to this website at the top here and find it. Click on Keyword Planner. You need to be logged in, ideally to the Google account that's linked to your website, and then click on the tools icon up here, the little wrench, find the keywords, click on that, and put in whatever topic that you're looking to write a post about. So again, using our example of prolapse, and you may not want to write prolapse. You may want to write something like, I'm falling out feeling in my vagina. What is that? Or something happened since I had birth and, I feel heavy in my pelvis. What is that, right? So think about what people are going to actually be Googling. But let's assume some of your potential clients know that they have a prolapse. So you type in prolapse and you'll see some similar keywords and long tail keywords. So long tail keywords are keywords, but there are phrases or even short sentences. They're more than one word. So by the way, if you do focus on prolapse, this is great. There are a pretty high number of searches, up to 100,000 searches a month on prolapsed uterus, rectocele, prolapsed bladder, cystocele, and so forth. And low competition. Hardly anyone's writing about this. There's not enough good information about this on the internet, not enough good video content. So people are going to be looking for you and finding you. This is a good topic to dig into if you're considering working with women with prolapse. Oftentimes you'll have keywords that have more competition or, fewer numbers of searches. But just start to get comfortable with the level of, how many people are searching for your topic and how much competition is there in terms of content already out on that topic. So you'll utilize your keywords in the post, in the title, in the body, in the metadata inside of your website where you're producing your blog. And consider using those long tail keywords as the focused keyword. For example, something like, what does bladder prolapse feel like is a long tail keyword. How to heal bladder prolapse. What is this falling out feeling in my bladder or vagina? In the video, again, title, body, description, and include your name and a common word that might tie together all of your videos. So like prolapse expert, Jessica Drummond, prolapse expert. I wouldn't necessarily call myself that, but if that's the target you're working on, you want to put that in every title. And you also want to make these videos into playlists so that it's easier for YouTube to track it. All right, so start the struggle with their words, end with the specific action your client should take. Call to action, exactly what they need to do. Or if you're writing a blog post, do that same thing inside of a little yellow box or at the very bottom of your blog post. And you can go to my blog at integrativewomenshealthinstitute.com/blog to see what a yellow box looks like. So, and if you think that, hey, no one's seeing my videos and blog posts, go for excellence in your posts and then specifically share them with people that you think will help you to spread the word, and ask them to share them with those in the network that you can help. But first, as you're writing this content and you're studying your keywords, as you're getting really immersed and comfortable with your topic, start to get comfortable with the people that you would like to help spread their message, and start doing that. Start getting to know them. Even if it's a group of 5 to 10 people that you're like, they have great work, it's similar to and tangential to my target client, let me start sharing their work, getting to know them better, and then you can make those kinds of asks. Always start with a give. Also, create memes, quotes, images, and other small snippets from your blog post to share on social channels. Interestingly, Pinterest has the longest life, and sometimes it's the best converting of all social media for things like this because it lasts forever. Facebook, you just scroll right through. Take the same topic as your blog post and teach the exact same thing in a Facebook Live video. Do it every week at the exact same time. Consistency builds audiences. Monthly or bi-weekly if weekly feels overwhelming. Again, done is better than perfect. So choose consistently whatever you can do. Now, a question I had was that one of my students was saying, I feel like I'm over giving. I have a few clients right now, but I'm giving them daily support in texting and email. How can I take on 10 clients? I can't even support the 3 clients that I have at this pace. You probably won't be able to, quite honestly. One of the core things that we teach in Business 101 is how to design your programs so they fit your lifestyle and how you like to work. If you like this model of monthly calls and daily support, have fewer clients and price appropriately. This is very high touch to be working with people every day. A 6-month program like this would generally run $5,000 to $10,000 per person for that 6 months. So either price it higher, or you have to build in stronger boundaries about the level of support, or you're really not going to have the bandwidth to take on 10 clients. So if all of this sounds helpful to you and you're not quite sure where to begin, or you know exactly what you need to do now, but you would like some support and accountability to actually execute, I want to explain to you our Business 101 program. So myself and my colleague Susan Clinton, who is a physical therapist who runs a very successful brick and mortar practice, and my practice and all of my work primarily at this point is an online practice. So we can support you whether you like virtual business for your lifestyle or in-person business. The purpose of our Business 101 program is to help you actually focus on hitting a goal from a marketing standpoint and taking specific action. It is realistic that you could, in 6 to 8 weeks, get half of those SEO optimized videos and or blog posts up. You could make a clear decision about your ideal client. You can start working on your copywriting voice and creating a couple of call to action videos so that you can actually enroll your first 10 clients realistically in the next 6 to 8 weeks. But you've got to take consistent action. Many business courses, and I have done many in the last decade, teach an infinite number of strategies. These strategies are fantastic. Most of them work. The key is doing them consistently, choosing just 1, 2, or 3 strategies at most at a time to actually execute. Just kind of playing on social media or doing 5 different things, it just does not work. You've got to work on your message, and you have to confidently and realistically deliver it specifically to your target client. So we support you in this program to make those decisions, choose an action plan, and do it consistently for 8 weeks. Set a goal and reach it. Why is Business 101 so short? The truth is, we want you to take action and get results. This is not a theoretical program. It's a hit a goal every 2 months program. You can always join us for subsequent sessions to meet your next goal. As I said, and as many people have said, and they're so right, Done is better than perfect. You should have seen version 1.0 of the Women's Health Coach certification. It's radically different than the current version, and it was still highly valuable. What if I'm overwhelmed in my business and don't know where to start? This program is specifically designed to help you create a business or change your business so it won't burn you out. That was actually the original intention of Susan and I teaming up to create this program. We have personally experienced burnout firsthand. We know how to help you create your practice from the start, or shift it if you're already running a practice that's pushing you to burn out, to reduce your overwork and overwhelm depending on where you are in your life, what your goals are, and what your financial needs are. I think not enough women's health and wellness experts really get real about their financial needs. We talk about financial pressures. We talk about the risks of growing too fast to your health and to your finances. And we talk about how to navigate these in alignment with your actual deep down goals and passions and your personality. You know, we're all different, and different women will be needing to work with us because our personalities are unique. And this program actually includes specific assessments that have been validated to help fine-tune this for you. So join us for the next session. You can find out more information at this bit.ly link, bit.ly/IWHIB101, and I will post the link alongside this video. That's bit.ly/IWHIB101, and you can learn more about the next session, which starts very soon. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Done is better than perfect. We'll see you inside of Business 101. We limit this program to 15, so join us today. We'll see you there for the next session. Bye.